We're going to have to come up with answers that set politics aside.
Oh,
they don't hear us.
They don't hear us.
They don't hear us.
Telling them, but they ain't listening.
I'm from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and they don't hear us.
We're going to bring you some stuff that's going to make you feel better. They don't hear us.
They don't hear us!
Hey, and shout out to the folks who are covering this coalition, because they don't hear us.
Well, hello, everyone. And we're here again with They Don't Hear Us. I'm Sheryl Huff, and I'm with the Middle Tennessee National Action Network, and I am the president. And with me today, we have our legal team, and he chairs our legal committee, and you can introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Attorney Kenneth Redditt, and I am a criminal defense, family, personal injury attorney right here in Middle Tennessee. And I do work in tandem with Ms. Huff with the National Action Network, and am the chair of the Legal Redress Committee. And so it's just honored and pleased to be here tonight to discuss the whole host of issues tonight.
Yes. So, well, thank you so much for accepting my invitation to come out and just talk with us and let us know what's going on with you. And right now, I just want you to just tell us who you are and what it is that you do and what you specialize in.
Right. Well, my name's Kenneth Redditt, and I have been a criminal defense family lawyer for 15 years right here in Middle Tennessee. Okay. But I don't just practice in Middle Tennessee. I cover about 30 counties throughout the state. Okay. So I pretty much believe in going where I'm needed.
Okay.
So, I've been doing that, and my main areas of practice include helping clients that have had charges that they're fighting in general sessions courts and criminal court, cases that have been bound over, which means that they've gone beyond general sessions court, and now they're in criminal court. And so I do a lot of that, and personal injury actions. When people get into car accidents, I'll get calls and meet with them and discuss what happened and see how I can go about getting them recoveries for injuries they sustained. Oh. So that's a pretty big part of it. I also do quite a bit of landlord-tenant work. Oh. So I assist both landlords and tenants in cases that they have, in which, from the tenant's perspective, where a lot of times the issue is that they've received a detainer action, which is a notice of eviction, typically for failure to pay rent, but it could be other reasons. And so I will assist them. And landlords is the converse. They've had tenants that have rented for a while, and they have just not paid, and so they want me to assist them in the eviction process. So I assist both sides.
Oh, okay. So with those specialties that you have, what are which one of your career that you do with legal, which one is your favorite? Which one that you love working with? Working with the people and you find a lot of needs. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My favorite, you would ask me about a favorite, wouldn't you?
Have to.
It is just more or less the last one, where I can, make impact and can assist. That is where I guess I would say would be a favorite. Okay. So I probably do about equal the amount of criminal work and the amount of civil work. Okay. So my civil practice is pretty broad, because civil law is everything else that's not criminal. Okay. So you'll have your criminal cases, which will include your theft cases, your DUI cases, your murder cases, your assault cases, your robbery cases, and I do all of those. Okay. And civil law would include everything else that's not criminal.
So I know earlier in last year, late last year or sometime in that area, that you were running for a position, and just can you tell us a little bit about, what made you decide that running for the office that you were running for, what made you decide to do that, and how could you have helped if you became the position that you were running for?
Yes, it was 2022.
Okay.
I ran for a General Sessions Judge Division II,
Okay.
right here in Davidson County. And that is a very unique court because not only does it hear all of the cases, the civil cases and the criminal cases, but it also it's a mental health and a veterans court.
Okay.
And so and both of those issues are pretty near and dear to me. So the mental health component, I was wanting to really have a role in destigmatizing mental health and growing and redeveloping the court, and looking for other creative and innovative ways to address mental health. It just did not involve just merely a group setting, but also involved having other options, for people that just were not comfortable with discussing those issues, in a group setting. And that was one of the things, to try and get increased funding and just to make it a focal point. And that, where mental health is looked at and understood as, as a real issue, as a real concern. So because of that, that was a big reason to run. And I also obviously thought that there was a need.
Right.
And due to my practice and breadth of experience with just the number of cases in the areas that I mentioned, I felt that I would be uniquely qualified and suited for that position because in addition to it being a mental health and a veterans court, you hear all of the cases. And those are the cases that I practice in all the time. And I'm a staple in General Sessions Court as well as criminal court. And so that's what prompted me to run.
So do you find it hard for people of color to talk about mental health or seek help for mental health? What do you think the disparity is, the reason why they don't, or if they do? Just elaborate on that.
I do. I think it's difficult, but I won't just limit it to people of color. I think that there is more of a national stigma when it comes down to mental health. It's a very difficult conversation, a difficult thing for people to acknowledge that there may be a problem and that they may need help. And I think one of the roles and things that the court can do is to facilitate and try and make that process easier, to where people can have an avenue. Of course, I think it all starts with a diagnosis, first and foremost. But I do believe that, there's a lot of reticence when it comes down to just talking about it.
Right.
And so much of it comes from those that are close to us, friends, family members, and frankly can be some of the worst critics. And that you just can't have a conversation with and let them know because you hear some words that are not necessarily flattering that's associated with a with a mental health issue. And I think that serves as a deterrent, and people just continue to just go on with their normal daily lives, and the issue never really gets fully addressed, and that's problematic.
So in your criminal life, when you work with criminal cases, do you see more of our, in this time and days now, more of our youth and young people are needing attorneys and because of issues and situations that they gotten themselves into? Do you see more of younger people now or still older, or what do you see it's at? Absolutely.
It runs the whole gamut. Juvenile court, I practice in juvenile court quite a bit, and a lot of times those dockets are just overflowing with young defendants that are there. And so in one part of my practice is to assist at a stage when juveniles get charges and to try and figure out to do things maybe like an informal adjustment, which is similar to what you call pretrial diversion in criminal court, which is a quick resolution to, it's not always quick, but it helps resolve an issue without it going and being something that they have to be saddled with and being on their record, and just it's a good option. It's a good option for them. But yes, I do see that it's so much of that where there are young people that are getting into the system, and you have to figure out, okay, what is a way to try and reach those people, because of course it always starts at home. It always starts at home. It always starts with parenting. Right. Those are the number one source, and then of course teachers. It falls down the line, and of course, you probably heard the phrase, "It takes a village," and
large one.
yes, and of course, that sense of community, I think, was also very, very important in helping children and kids, stay on task and everything. But so when we lose that, then it makes it a lot more difficult to try and rein that situation back in and everything. But yeah, I would definitely say that you will see a significant amount of kids that are having problems right now, and ultimately what would end up happening, depending on what the seriousness and severity of the offense, that they will be in detention. That's kind of the first step, and later the next thing is they'll end up having a hearing, and then a transfer hearing. Okay. And a lot of times they'll get transferred as adults, and so one of the things that I try to do is to try and negotiate with the with the state, and to try to keep those cases and deal with them in juvenile court without having them to come up the street and deal with them in criminal court.
Right. So what cases that happens with a juvenile to get it where it has become so severe that now they have to transfer over to adult? And how does that, how do you walk through that part to that now it's in adult? And is that something that you do from juvenile to adult courts?
Yes, I handle it from juvenile court all the way through criminal court. Okay. But I would say what would happen typically would be a violent offense, or an allegation of a violent offense, something involving assault or aggravated assault, because you'll have your assault, but then your aggravated assault, which typically includes a serious bodily injury or use or display of a weapon, robbery, those type of offenses, and I have represented juveniles, unfortunately, even in murder cases.
So what do you think about if we brought in the schools, because most of the time that's where it starts, in school, like a court in schools, so we can do like civics. They took civics out. But if our children understood what it looks like to go to court, plead their case, sometime they win, sometime they don't, what happens next? If we start in the schools, what do you think about that, some type of remedy to help our youth?
I am always in favor of a proactive solution, as opposed to waiting until something happens, oftentimes catastrophic, and then trying to figure out how to go and address the situation afterwards. Right. And you made me think of something when you asked the question about a field trip that I went on in school years and years ago, and to Parchman, Mississippi, to a prison. So we had a chance to kind of walk and see how the everyday, how the prisoners live from day to day and what they have to do. And I will tell you that it had some tremendous impact. So your suggestion, I think, would be a good one. And really could work and could help, because it could really kind of pierce the minds of those youngsters to where they look at it and say, you know what, this is not what I want.
Yeah, give them a chance to have a decision to make.
Yes.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the record expungements and those type of things the service that you bring to the community, and how effective you are in the community with the everyday people, and how does that go?
Yes, I have for years. If I were to say 10, it would probably be conservative. Have assisted with record expungements, have worked in partnership with community members and leaders and pastors, and holding expungement clinics. And there's been a number of people that have come out and have benefited from that. And one of the things that I hear that I take the most pride in is when someone comes to me and say that, after coming to the clinic and you helped me get my record expunged, the job that I was trying to get and couldn't get before, I was able to get that job.
Yes.
And that's really, really what it's all about, because I mean, it has so many far-reaching effects when you can help, clean up, the record and everything. Because I would even say this, that if you pull over by the police and they see that you have a number of things on your record, it's a good chance that that's going to even prolong that encounter.
Yes.
And it could end up being a situation where we've seen too many deaths, even right here in Middle Tennessee and in Davidson County, that have started just with routine traffic stops, and they've gone sideways, and the next thing you know, their funerals and everything. And so that's one thing. I think another thing that would be a benefit, because I just think that if your record is clean, it's no different than clean credit, than having a good credit report. You want your record, and if you can get things expunged, and one of the things that I see oftentimes is people have gone to court on different cases, have gotten those things dismissed, gotten things dismissed and or retired, and it's been beyond the retirement period. Because the difference between a dismissal and a retirement is for a designated period of time that a case is just set aside, and say 6 months, a year, and then after that period of time elapses and there's good and lawful conduct, then it gets dismissed and you can get it expunged off your record. But you have to go back and do it, because if you don't, it still sits there. And so, if you've had, say, a theft charge that's just sitting there, and you do an application and there's a prospective employer, and they see this, then even if it's dismissal, they're just gonna think, well, they just got the help of a lawyer and got it dismissed. But so you want to go that last step and get it expunged. And see, thankfully, from when the expungement laws came into place in 2012, there has been some changes, and usually around July of each year, there are some amendments to it. To now, there are 2 convictions that you can get off your record, as long as they are part of the same event. You can get 2. They have to be eligible. It has to be one eligible misdemeanor, 1 eligible felony, or you can get 2 eligible misdemeanors that you can get expunged off your record. And so you just have to look at that. There's an exclusion list. The statute, I think it's TCA 4032-101G, and you look at that, and it will give you a list of those things. Because at one point it was only A misdemeanors and E felonies, but now it's expanded to where it is E felonies, and there are some C and D felonies that you can get off. And each year, so for those that are not able to get things expunged off their record, I'll just say hold tight.
Right.
There are probably some changes that are coming.
In July every year.
Usually in July every year. It's usually, that statute that I reference is usually amended, and you can, there are some changes, and could probably get it expunged in the future.
So what do you think about if, because I know it's something that should be happening anyway, that once a person go to trial or go to court or whatever, and the case has been dismissed, and the judge that hears that case just let them know now, bring me the paperwork and I'll expunge this off your record. Because is that what judges should be doing or are already doing, or what do you think about that?
I see that a lot. One county that I practice in a lot, other than Davidson, is Rutherford County.
Okay.
And I will see that a lot when there's the time period, just like, for example, with the retirements that I mentioned.
Okay.
Cases retired, then that period passes, and the case is dismissed, and a lot of times the judge will set it for status. Then you come back to court on that date, and as long as there's been good and lawful conduct, no other arrests or anything, if there are fines and fees, that those have been paid. If there have been other conditions with the retirement, just say, for instance, community service work, that they do 24 hours or 48 hours of community service work, you show proof of that, then it shouldn't be too difficult to get it. And yes, and the judge a lot of times will sign off on it, and it will get done. And right now, it was pretty slow during the pandemic as far as getting things, but I'd say you can probably look for about 60 days in most cases, and most things would be expunged after doing an order of expungement.
Yeah, okay, well, tell us something, just something, you know, I know you are a hard-fighting soldier on this battlefield, because I call you all day, every day, and I appreciate you answering my call. But tell us something that you do for fun. Tell us, what do you do to relax after working and seeing so much stuff that's happening out here?
Yes.
So tell us who you are when you are having fun and something that nobody knows about you.
Okay, I will answer the fun part first. One of the things that I like to do, love to do, is to travel.
Yes.
Is to just, plan a vacation, sometimes a getaway.
Okay.
Because sometimes it can't be a full-fledged vacation. Sometimes it just has to be 2 days.
Okay.
And to just get away and to decompress and to just, leave everything behind.
Okay.
And usually to a sunny, nice spot where there's a beach.
Okay.
So that's the preference.
Okay.
And I think something to your question about that a lot of people don't know is at one point I used to be a dance choreographer.
Oh, what?
Yes.
What? Okay.
I'm actually surprised that you're surprised, but yeah. But yes, and I, had a group. We would go, years ago, actually sent a video to the Showtime at the Apollo. Oh. And so that was something that I was trying to get into back in my late teen, early 20s.
So you had some moves then, huh? Oh, okay, so we're going to start this dance team here.
I don't know why you said had, but yeah. Yes.
I mean, you have some dance moves.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So, oh my God, I was going to ask you something and it left my mind. That happens a lot. Do that happen to you? Do you just think about something and then it just leave you?
Yeah, but usually the thing is when you just start talking about something else,
Right, and it'll come back.
It'll come right back to you.
So when you take on all of those cases and you go to bed at night, do you have a therapist that you talk with that give you some kind of understanding, because you deal with so much and you do a lot? Because I asked the police chief, I asked the sheriff, I asked because I want to know, who do you all talk to keep you sane doing this type of work out here?
That's an excellent question, and I really appreciate that. I've never gotten that question before, but it's just really tapping into my faith. That's the thing that sustains me, is to tap into my faith, and that gives me all of the peace and tranquility, and reminds me of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
So, well, This has been really, really well. This is really good. Have you ever thought about one of the cases that you had was like, it was so tragic that you think about it often? And because I know doing the work that I do, and I come across a lot of young guys, and that's 20 and older, 20 to probably 45 or whatever, and all of them always say, well, my dad wasn't there. I mean, everybody, most of the people that I talk with, that's what they come up to. Being your younger version of you, what would you say to a young man that don't have his father and you have to go and visit him in jail? What would you say, or what some kind of something that you will say something or talk with them about?
Yes, and it's definitely unfortunate when they don't have a father, but a lot of times they oftentimes will have a father figure. Okay. Or somebody that they trust. And that's what I would ask them to lean on and to, consult with that, that person that they trust, and that they feel is going to give them some good, good wise counsel. Okay. And and oftentimes, because some of the folks that I help and assist, they have long, lengthy sentences. Some not so much. And it's just a thing of just trying to keep them encouraged, and my thing that I do is to try and fight for them as far as the case and everything. But, you have, other concerns that you just alluded to, which goes beyond and transcends even what their situation is. And so, and that's where they have to, have that support system. And usually it's going to be somebody. And so, and just to try and encourage them to, speak with that particular person or persons that they feel like that they can trust and that have shown them that they would be there for them.
Okay. So we have probably about a minute and a half or so left. So I just want you to let the audience and the listening people know how they can reach out to you anytime. I mean, just let them know how they can get in touch with you. And again, tell them who you are.
Yeah. Kenneth Redditt, and if I can be of any assistance to you, whether it's a criminal case, civil case, do not hesitate to give me a call. My number is 615-400-3439. Call me, set up a consultation, and so come on in and see how we can help remedy your situation.
Good. And you also said that when you was talking about expungements and how people can come and get their expungement within this minute or so, can you tell them what the steps are to clearing their records up, or even just to come and sit down and you look at to see if they qualify for it?
Yes, and that could be a phone call. You could call me if you have a question about things that whether they can be expunged or not, that may be on your record, and I can take a look at those preliminary. And sometimes you may have things in other counties or other states. You've got ways to go about, looking at that as well. So just give me a call, and I will let you know what I can do. And probably there'll be an expungement clinic that will be coming up, and I'd inform you about that, the dates on those expungement clinics as well. That would be a great opportunity to come out.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much. I appreciate you as always. And I just want to say thank you all for listening. If you have any questions that you need to ask, just leave your questions and we will reach out to you. Again, my name is Sheryl Huff. I'm the president of Middle Tennessee National Action Network. And we have a surprise guest that will be coming here to Nashville. Reverend Al Sharpton will be here on May 16th. So get your tickets. You can reach us at www.nanmiddletn.org. Thank you. All right now.